We're going to create a React.js application with TypeScript for illustrating the usage of the styled components. Step 1 is to generate the project files with create React app and then install the dependencies that we will use. Step 2 is to clean up a little bit. Step 3 is to set up the global styles to be configured throughout the entire application. Step 4 is the navbar components, and the last step is the footer components, both using the styled components. So let's get started. I am going to create React app. The name of the app is going to be styled components demo. And we will use the TypeScript template. Alright, we are getting our files. Styled components is indeed very useful to expedite the developments and to make it easier to maintain the code. You will not need to keep those huge CSS files anymore. Everything is more condensed, packed. The components will contain their own styles. Okay, we are ready. We can see the generated files over here. Let's add already the necessary dependencies. So I'm going to yarn add styled components. Since we are using TypeScript, we will also add the types for the styled components as a dev dependency. At types styled components. Alright, so let's start now the second step, which is the clean up unnecessary files generated by the Create React app. Let's start with the public folder. Here I am going to delete the two logo images and the manifest.json. I could as well delete the favicon and the robots.txt, but well, in the index.html file, I am going to remove everything from the meta description tag, up to the title. Okay, and I will write anything here on the title. I will also remove these comments. Okay. The public folder is done. Let's move to the source folder. Here I'm going to delete basically everything except the app.tsx and the index.tsx and maybe this env file. Okay, let's delete the others. Perfect. I have my 3 files over here in the source folder. On the index.tsx, let's remove the third line, importing the index.css. And let's remove everything regarding the service worker. We will not be using it. Right. Next file is the app.tsx. For this file here, basically we will remove everything except the first and the last lines, because we are going to configure it as React components. React functional components. Okay. Alright, now we are ready to configure the global styles, the step number 3. And we will do so by creating a folder called styles, and inside of it a file called global.ts. Alright, in the global.ts file we will import from the styled components create global style. All right. Export default create global style. And then 2 backticks because we are using template literals, which is pretty cool. So we can just put our global CSS here. I will reset some rules, so margin 0, padding 0, outline 0. You can add pretty much anything you want here. Okay, let's add some margin 0 to the root div. Okay. All right. Also, in the global styles, we are going to define a background image. This background image will be in the HTML tag. I have a snippet here that I use for centering the image in the page. Okay, we need now to download our image. Let's choose real quick a nice image. Let's pick a landscape orientation. Choose a nice image. I like this one. Okay, let's download this image and save it to the source folder. I am actually going to create another folder named assets, and there I will save the image named as background.jpg. Okay, cool. I have my image there in the assets folder inside the source. So I could as well as import it now. Let's call it background image, and let's import it from the assets folder. Right. So here you can see already that it identified. So we are done with our global configuration of the styles. I'm curious to see how it looks, so let's just yarn start. Funny, what is it? Okay, here it is. All right, now I think we should move to the app. Let's just type in H1 here, hello. Okay, it's working. Nice. So what we are going to do here, first off, we will need to include the global style that we have just created. So we will import the global style from styles global. Okay, looks good. Well, we need now to create our 2 components. So let's create another folder here called components. Inside the components folder, I will create another folder called navbar. And inside the navbar folder, I will create a file called index.tsx. All right. Also in the navbar folder, in the same level of the index, I will create a file named styles.tsx. Good. So for my index.tsx, we can start by importing React. And let's write a component of type reactfc, export default navbar, okay, export default navbar here. Okay, and let's configure the, wait, what's wrong? Okay, much better. Yes, let's take a look on the styles. On the styles, I'm going to start by importing the styled from styled components. Import. Okay, and what we're going to do, we are going to export const container. We are going to create a container that will actually render a div, right? And for now, let's leave it like that for now. We're going to import it already here. Import container from styles. So this is going to be the skeleton of our components. They will always be accompanied of their styles, by their styles. We can as well copy this and duplicate. Okay, so we have navbar and navbar copy. I'm going to remove the navbar copy to footer. So I have my navbar component with the index and the styles, and I have my footer with the index and the styles. I have to rename here. Okay. So let's start by the by this component over here. The container, I can already add it here, although there's no styles, but let's add the container. The container will, so let's just decide real quick what we're gonna do. We're gonna add the container, then we're going to add a logo, right? Yeah, and then I'm gonna put it already, logo. Then you're going to add a menu with the menu items. Okay, so logo and menu. We don't have that yet. Let's just create it. Wait, this is the navbar. That's the navbar. So let's create the logo and the menu. Logo, menu. You'll see that the errors are gone. So for the logo, well, for the container, let's start by display flex. Here I can just put my CSS. So basically what's going to happen is that here, instead of container, we will actually have a div. So for the logo and for the menu is the same. You see div, if I wanted the logo to be a span, for example, I just put it here. When it renders here, it will be a span. Okay, so the container is going to be a flex, display flex, and justify content space between, align items center, height, I don't know, 70 pixels maybe. And color, let's put it font F. Where is our background image? Oh yeah, I included it, but I'm not using it. So let's add it over here. Global style. Okay, our background's there, and this we don't need. However, what we can add here is already the navbar and the footer because we already created them. So to the app.tsx, let's import the navbar from components navbar, and let's import the footer as well. And let's just add the navbar and the footer to the app.tsx. Okay, so there in our components on the index, I think we can add our logo to start with. Okay. For the menu, we actually need some menu items. Menu item. Let's add a couple of pages, about and contact. So let's add the menu item, and let's create a menu item here. Okay. Well, for the logo, what is this? As no exported member menu item. Yeah, sometimes we can have a little issue. It's a bit slow. Well, I can see now my header there. Just for you to actually visualize it, I'm going to add a background color. So this is my first component, the header. The logo needs to be a bit bigger. Let's make the logo a bit bigger. Maybe also some margin. 30 pixels. Okay, and font size 1.5. And that's 5 pixels, EM. One that's 3. Okay. now let's style the menu, and for that, those guys over here, I am going actually to start putting these backgrounds over here. Look, that's the menu. It needs to be also maybe display flex and justify contents, flex send. Okay. And finally, the menu item, I'm going to put some margin. .30 pixels as well. Good. And the font size 1.2 em. 1 em. Okay, great. So let's get rid of the gray background. Good. We have finished. So this is our first component, the navbar is concluded. Okay, let's move to the second component now, which is the footer. So for the footer, what can we add here? Maybe the container already, huh? And then footer navigation. We don't have those things yet, and we are going to create in a few with those styles. So footer nav item, just to follow. And then we are going to add terms and conditions page. And maybe I don't know, a privacy notice or whatever, just for the example. Okay, now let's import that from the footer, from the styles, the footer nav, and the footer nav item. Okay, great. You can see there are errors here because they are not created yet. Let's create them. So it was footer nav and footer nav item, right? Yeah, right. Okay. Let's style it. So here I want to have a fixed footer, right? Let's add a height 50. Let's add 70, same as the other one. You can change it later if it's not good. And the color the same, F1, F1, F1. Okay. My apologies. And a width of 100%. Okay. Let's take a look. Backgrounds, color gray, just to see. Voila, that's my footer. Yeah, this needs to go to the end as well. So the footer nav, let's do the same thing basically. We are going to display flex and justify contents to the ends. Okay, great. Now the last one, we are going to add some margin on the top and a margin here between the items. So margin 30 pixels to the top, 30 pixels to the right, 0, 0. And let's take a look. Yeah, font size 1 em. Perfect. Let's get rid of the backgrounds. All right. Okay. So we are finished. As you can see, our components are here. We have configured then the global styles, resetting some CSS properties and adding the background image. We have then created the two components navbar and footer. They have the component code, but also the styles packed into the same thing, into the same place, the same package, if you will. So this is a much better way, at least I found, a much better and productive way to style your components, much easier to maintain. All right, that's it.